We are joined today with a very special guest. We have USA Today bestseller, Amazon bestselling author, and top Kindle all-star Taylor Hart. Taylor has written inspirational and Christian romance and is a best-selling author of over 70 books with fans in the US, Canada, the UK, and all over the world. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why don't we start with how you two met and a little bit about your history together?
So how did we meet? Let's see.
So I was already writing.
Yes.
And I had some stuff done, and I was interested in publishing.
Yes.
And my best friend, your sister,
Yes.
was like, I have a sister who has published books.
And we happen to live in the same neighborhood.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But do you remember we had you over?
Yes.
Had you over.
Yes.
And Jen just you went through
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
everything with me. And I was pretty much starstruck by you. I was like,
Oh, well, thank you.
oh my gosh, she's already published a book.
And then the tables got turned pretty quickly because how much time was it? Was it about
Well,
a
it was a
year?
couple of years,
Couple
maybe
years,
two.
maybe. And then we saw each other in the gym because we always working out in
Yeah.
the community gym. And you
were
told
walking
me,
laps.
Yeah, we're walking laps and doing the elliptical. And you told me how much success you were having, and I was like, "What?" And you said, "Yeah, I'm doing really well." And you told me, and you said you should really, really think about doing this full time.
Yeah,
because I was doing design work.
I was going to say you weren't writing then.
No, I was kind of writing every once in a while, but really not. So I literally went home and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I remember I went to lunch and then I was like, okay, tell me about your success and what you're doing. And then you're like, okay, this is what so it's kind of nice when that comes full circle,
nice.
isn't it? How
I'm
we help
grateful.
each other every step of the way.
And that kind of led us all to, Sarah Gay, Cammie Checketts, Kim Cray.
It did.
Lucy McConnell.
Yeah, because you already
us.
knew, and
Cindy Rowland Anderson.
Because you had done a series, the Snow Valley series with them. Yes.
But it was fun because then we could all help promote each other.
Yes.
And that's kind of catapulted.
I think it has.
It helped all of us.
It really has.
I'm
we
so grateful for
we
that.
have such a good time too. It's fun.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
Too much fun.
Yeah, yeah, we do. Don't ask about our dance parties.
Yeah.
Sounds like you both helped a lot to help each other get more into writing. I mean, you guys were all writing, but to really get started with what you are doing. So why don't you each tell us a little bit individually about how you personally started writing? I know, Jennifer, you had already published when you met Taylor. So why don't you tell us a little bit about each of you, how you got started into writing?
Okay. Well, mine started years ago. I think my first one was published in like 2003. And I used to write with my mom.
And that was
That was inspired by the life of my great grandmother. So it was Living in High Cotton.
I love that book.
And thank you.
I love that book.
And it's funny because that's the only historical that we've ever done.
Yeah.
But, we wanted to write about her, and she happened to live in the 30s, and
with an amazing life.
Yes, she really did have an amazing life. And
Yeah.
but that's kind of how we started. And we started out through a traditional publisher, and we were able to get published, which was kind of exciting because that was back, where it was almost impossible to find a publisher. And so, but then, we did that for a few years, but really didn't make any money doing it. It was more of a hobby business. And so, but that's kind of how I got started. And now you started with, you started a little different because yours actually went up on segments, right? Like your first published work.
Right. So, I had started writing. I remember having my third son. I have 4 sons. You know that. And I was teaching some college classes and doing some things. And then with 3 kids, you can't really even pay for daycare.
Yeah.
Right? When you're trying to. And so I remember just, going, just praying and being like, what can I do that I would love that maybe I could make some money at and, be able to do. And then so I just started writing. I have always been fascinated with people, their love stories. Mm-hmm. And my husband he likes to tease me when we meet people, he's like, just don't ask them how they met. Just don't ask them about their love story. And I can't help it.
You have to ask.
Right? I have to ask, like, how'd you guys meet?
That's awesome.
What did you like about each other?
That's
and
so awesome.
But people love that story.
Oh, they do.
They love
and it's
to
a
tell
part
their
of
story.
them, and their faces light up. And
I know.
yeah, well, most of the time, I guess, if they meet in a good way.
Oh, right.
But most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time.
That's so awesome.
And so I knew I wanted to write love stories.
Yeah.
And so, when I started writing, I did some serials with a company called Big World Network.
That's what I was thinking of.
And
okay.
I would just write, like, every week I had an episode, and I did some young adult fiction.
Yes.
But it was a love story.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that was the one that you showed me first, was your YA, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yes. And then I used to listen to your segments when it was on Big World, too. Yes,
Yeah.
that was neat. That was awesome.
It was kind of an interesting story, but like, I don't know, like looking back, you always look at your new stuff as like how far you've come. And it's not that I'm embarrassed but there's a lot of mistakes. I don't know.
Yeah, we kind of figure it out as we go.
Have to grow.
I hear a lot of authors, especially like the ones with the big traditional presses, and they'll say, "Oh, I have like several shoe boxes, with my first manuscript underneath it." I'm like, "Well, ours is out to the world."
That is true.
So,
all the mistakes are out there.
Yeah, they're there.
So, but then when I, asked you about publishing, and then the more conferences I went to and people I met, that's when independent publishing was really starting.
Yes, it really was.
And so I started putting my stuff out, and and I had a little bit of success, and that's when I saw you at the gym.
And I was so excited.
I know, you were so great. I was like, no, Jen, you have to keep writing.
Awesome.
Because I knew what you could do too.
Well,
so I was like, you have to keep writing.
Yeah, you really did. And it was, and False Identity was the one that
Oh,
which is funny because it's our
still one of your best
It
sellers.
is. It's our bestseller, which is so interesting. Yeah, but that was it.
And that's like perfectly you.
Yeah, I really like
that.
The suspense.
Because you're so good at that.
Well, thank you.
Like, I get terrified.
Thank you.
Whenever I need a scene, I always call you up. I'm like,
well,
Jen,
and you're so good at the emotional.
Yeah, but
the emotional. The emotional.
I'm like, tell me something scary. What could we do? You're like, okay, let's see.
What can happen? What's the worst
that
can happen?
You can push her off a ledge. I was like, no.
You're like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that say about me? I don't even want to. Don't answer that.
I know. You need to have Patrick, your husband, on here.
Oh,
sometime.
yeah. And
then
ask
he
him.
could give us some insight.
Well, and
your mind.
lately I've been doing
If there's ever been a time he's been afraid.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Be careful what you say, honey. Well, I've been doing rom-coms lately, and somebody one of the reviewers had said that one of my books was Pee in Your Pants Funny, and I showed it to Patrick, and I said, see, I'm funny, and he said, no, you're not. No, you're not.
He's like, no, I know
you're not. Yeah, you're not.
He knows the dark thoughts.
Yeah, he does. It all comes out in the book.
It all comes out.
Yeah.
It all comes out.
Diabolical villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
What does a typical day of writing look like for you?
ooh, I'm kind of a nerd about my morning ritual. Mm-hmm. I think you know that, but
yes,
I
know what you do in the morning. You go walk. I know because I see these beautiful pictures around the lake. Yes.
I always have to have my.
But what else do you do?
scenery.
What else do you?
Well, so when I take my dog for the walk, I have a system because it's I get my kids off to school, and then I go for a walk with my dog around our lake. Like we're so that beautiful
with Bella,
lake
right?
With my dog Bella.
Yes.
And first of all, I do 20 minutes of like scriptures. Mm-hmm. I like to listen. I kind of like to put the word of God in my head first. And then I do this 15-minute like gratitude kind of meditation where I start like with, I start right here and then it's like a spiral. Like I'm grateful for the breath I have. Then I go wider, like my husband, my boys, this earth. Right? Like that I'm not in charge of putting the sun up every day. It's good to remember, right?
That is really good.
And then I do some visualizing where I want to go in the future. Mm-hmm. And then I come kind of back in and And then I start thinking about what I'm going to write about because I try and get out at least 2K a day.
Yeah.
Like typing. Like some days more. But that's kind of part of my routine. So I start thinking about whatever story that I'm writing.
Yeah.
And I might even like jot some notes down or,
Yeah, record
in my
it
phone
if you...
record.
That's smart.
So
That's
I kind of
really smart.
So right when I get home, then it's like 2,000 words and then
Do
shower.
you write until the kids write?
Well, 2,000 words out and then I get to shower. So I try not to have like anything in my morning, right?
That's smart.
If I'm interrupted, if I have to go to school, they just get me.
Yeah.
No makeup.
Yeah, because it's hard.
They just get their own me.
Otherwise, you can't really get everything done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of on a deadline all the time.
That is really hard.
And if we have editing and marketing.
We have a lot of stuff that we have to do. Yeah. Mine is kind of similar. Like I, get up and say my morning prayers, eat breakfast, and read my scriptures. And then I usually have to spend like an hour or two like doing business stuff, like responding to emails or making sure stuff is sent out. And then
So you do that before you write?
I do.
I try and not deal with that.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get that, but then I write it. Do you write I write in a separate place. Like I have an office where I do all of my business stuff.
Yeah.
And then I go down to the basement, and that's my writing cave.
That's smart.
And so it just kind of, and I can feel that relief, like when I get down there because I know I've done.
I like that
everything.
idea, Jen.
It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice.
I might have to copy you.
Yeah, it's really neat, and it's cool, and I don't hear the doorbell or interruptions, and so it's just kind of nice, and and then I probably do about the same as you. I probably do about 2,000. Mine I try to do. It's funny because I guess I could do the word count, but I usually do mine in pages.
Okay.
I try to do between 10 and 20 pages, which is probably anywhere from 2 to 4.
Probably the same.
Yeah, about the same.
Close.
And that's about a chapter. Don't you think that's about?
Yeah.
I probably try to do about a chapter, and then I'll read through kind of what I've done the day before, and I'll edit as I go, so I don't have to edit as much at the end.
You're smart.
And
I don't edit.
do you just wait until? Yeah.
And it's awful.
Well, it's funny how because I think most people don't edit as they go, right?
I don't know. I think a lot of people do.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
It kind of helps get me, and then usually like I'll get it out the first day, but I'm not real happy with it. It's okay. It's out. And then I'll go back the second day and I'll refine it and add in different pieces and, Yeah. So,
I think when you have a finished copy, you're like pretty much done.
I am. I'm pretty much done. Yeah. No, you're not because you go back and it's interesting how the process and I kind of wish in a way that I was not like that.
I wish I was like you.
It's funny how
It's like having straight hair and curly hair. You always want the opposite.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you do what you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
How do you get inspiration for your books? You both write a lot of books, so how do you find inspiration for those books?
Do you want me to go or do you want to go?
You go.
Okay. I would say our whole lives are inspiration.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Especially because since we do write all the time, like everything's interesting. It's a scene. I was out to dinner with some friends a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know some of the girls that went, and so they were kind of having a side conversation, and I just heard one of them say, and she was talking about dating, like first dates. She was single and she was dating. She goes, I just told the guy I'm still menstruating, so of course I'm dating. And like I heard that line, and I pulled out my phone and I wrote that line in my notes.
Yeah.
Because when I was like, oh my gosh, for a second chance romance.
Oh yeah.
That's gold. Yeah.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
And so anything.
And it's so fresh.
It's so fresh.
Yeah.
Original. It's like out of
yeah.
normal.
Exactly.
Something I like to do too is use my boys and their dating drama or anything, right? Like I have a 16-year-old and he had his friends over the other day and they were all talking like, oh, that looks drippy. That looks so drippy. And I said, so I was like, okay, guys. I was making them
What is drippy?
I was like, what is drippy? And my son, he turns to me, he's like, Mom, it's between fire and ice.
Oh, it's drippy.
I was like,
okay. So you're like, that's put it in there. They don't realize how many pieces of them. Yeah, I always tell people, be careful or I'll put you in my book.
And Jen will kill you.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
You will kill that.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
Just because you write such great suspense.
Well, and I do love this. And, I watch a lot of suspense. And, it's what I love. Like,
right.
Yeah, like you find me, that's what I'm watching. It does. It scares you, does it? You're like, I don't like that at all.
I do, not like you.
But you're good at suspense, too.
Well, because I was going to say Christine Kersey.
Yeah, she's really good at suspense.
And
Cammy's really
Checkets.
good. Yes.
And even Kim Cray is really good.
I think Kim's really
suspense.
good. I think Rochelle Christensen's really good.
Yes, Rochelle Christensen.
Yes. And so
I tend to just really
I really like how you dive into the
Hallmark.
emotion of the story.
I know, I love
you really
that.
are good at that.
Well, thank you. But
You
I
really
love to
are.
find what's broken
Yeah.
inside of them.
Yeah, I like how you told me once,
exploit
which I'm
it.
like, oh, that's great. Maybe it may have come from Daniel, one of the editors, but it's like, they have to complete each other in some
Yes.
way. Like if she's broken,
Yes.
what does he have that can fix it? And I'm like, oh, that's really good.
Yes.
That's a really good way to look at
He's
it.
a great editor.
Yeah, is that where that came? I mean,
I
you're
think
the one who
that's from
told me,
Daniel Banner.
but I think
Yeah.
it was really smart.
I know,
Yeah,
so
to look
smart.
at it like that.
So smart.
Yeah. One thing that I love about writing is being able to create our own world. Like I love that we can actually create something and have it end like we think it should.
I know.
That gives me a lot of satisfaction. I think that's what inspires me. And to go back and read something, that you wrote and you're like, oh, okay, this is good. We can do this, because I'm the typical, like when I'm writing, I'm like, I don't like starting them at the beginning. And so I'm always like, oh, this is awful. This is terrible. I hate this. I can't even put two words together.
I've been with you on writing retreats. I know that.
That's
Because when you're starting a book.
Oh, I hate it because I don't know the characters and I just feel like every word is a drudgery. And then by the end, I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. But it's always this, and it used to freak me out. And before, I started writing just all the time, I'd have to psych myself up like a month, because I had
start.
to start.
Yeah.
And now I don't get that luxury. So it's like, okay, you just start.
Just go.
Yeah. But I think that, and I think too, you probably feel like this. I get inspired when people tell me that they really like something and that it resonated with them or that it helped them in some way. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I feel the same way. Like I think I always pray for inspiration before, and I think you do too, right? Mm-hmm. Before I write one word, I'll always pray. And a lot of times I learn things. It's funny how you don't really know sometimes.
Even like through your characters.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I guess they described it in the, like Shakespearean days as the muse. You have your muse. But sometimes it's like, wow, I don't really know where that came from. But I'm grateful that it's there. I always laugh and say at the end of this life, this guardian angel will say, you can thank me for all of that inspiration.
No kidding. Because sometimes it just comes.
It just comes. And you're like, cool. Wow, okay, that actually fits. How does that, fit?
Yeah.
All right. What is the hardest part of writing?
The beginning.
For
me,
you it's the beginning.
The beginning. I hate writing the beginning. Matter of fact, I try to get the beginning done before a writer's retreat because I don't want to go through that. I want to enjoy it, but sometimes I'm not able to.
I know.
I know. How about for you?
The editing. I actually love the first draft.
Yeah.
Because I can just go. But I'll get to about 3/4 the way through. Mm-hmm. And then then when I really know the characters, and then I start putting things to the side going, you got to fix this, you got to fix this, you got to fix this, you got to fix this. But I keep writing. So then when I go to my second draft, there's a lot of stuff to fix.
Yeah.
But I just want to get the first draft done.
Yeah. Yeah. You just want to get it done.
I just want to get it out.
Uh-huh.
But then I spend more time probably editing.
On the back end. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And I kind of edit as I go and keep refining it and go back, like I've thought of some things.
I wish I could do that.
Well, I don't know which is better. I don't know. Either. And it maybe probably doesn't matter because at the end it's all there.
We get the book done.
Yeah. But I am a little slower sometimes because I kind of go back through and, and try to refine it a little bit or I'll think of things, I need to add that in, so I got to go back and do that. But kind of like you're talking about, but
but I just do it at the same.
I do.
At the first draft.
Yeah. Yeah. When I get finished, it's usually finished.
I know.
Yeah.
I envy that.
Well, thank you. I don't know if it's better or worse. Sometimes I wish I was a little bit freer so I didn't have the critic going all the time.
Yeah.
Because I do. I really do. It's harder. Do you write better in the morning or in the evening?
In the morning.
In the
I
morning.
write better. Or really late at night.
Yeah, I write better really late at night.
Maybe after I've taken like some melatonin or something. Can't go to sleep. I'll just write.
I do that sometimes.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. You're free.
I'm free.
The critic,
the kids are asleep.
critic shuts up, and you can just write. That's what. Yeah, me too.
So
Yeah.
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 All right. Let's talk about your books now. What is a favorite book or series that each of you has written?
Okay.
You know, I'm. You know that I've just finished book 6 of the Stone family.
And it's a great series. I love it.
Thank you. I love it. It's my favorite.
I think it's gone gangbusters too.
I'm grateful. Everyone, it's awesome. Like, I'm just grateful. But what I added in the Stone family is this backstory of this gold, like this family gold. They had a treasure map, kind of like Goonies, right?
Yeah.
And the kids always looked for this gold and they could never find it. And so now the kids are grown up, right? They're having their second chance love stories. The parents have both passed away.
And I like how they go back to the family beach house.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's been stressful because I've added a bunch of suspense. I have a bad guy that keeps showing up. He's a .com billionaire that's looking for the gold and kind of tears up the town.
Wow.
And you know, all my guys, I have Navy SEALs, an FBI agent, and so I'm kind of.
So you have to have that suspense.
A lot of suspense, and it's been hard.
Yes, but you're doing a really good job.
Well, thank you.
And
but it's my favorite, but it's been more than just my more simpler romances.
Yes.
So
and sometimes
I love
those
it,
are
though.
really good, though. But I think I really like it too, and I like the dynamics
sweet.
between the siblings. I
Thanks.
think that's really good.
I have 2 sets of twins at the top and the bottom.
That's awesome.
And so it's kind of fun. And then boys in between. And so you know how brothers, there's only one girl.
Yeah.
And she's kind of she kind of bosses them around.
Uh-huh.
And they're all military guys. And so, but they cave to her.
Oh, yeah, because she's the sister.
She's like, go wash your hands. You know, they're like, they're 30. You know?
Now, where does she fall in line?
She's the oldest with Trey.
Okay.
So it's Kenzie and Trey. They're the oldest.
That's awesome.
And he reminds her that he's 3 minutes older than her.
Yeah.
You know, and she's like, I don't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care. She's the alpha. She doesn't care. Yeah, that's awesome.
They love her. So
well, it is a really good series. I really like.
What's
that
yours?
series.
What's your favorite?
You know, I was trying to think. I'm enjoying my Honeysuckle Island series that I'm writing, and it's on an island. And it's been really fun, and it has mystery too. And but I've really been thinking a lot lately. I'm rebranding my Grimlaw series, which is it's interesting because it's a fairy tale retelling, but I went a lot deeper. So really, it's for
you kind of have some complicated twists.
I do
in that
I do, and I'm kind of intimidated because this year is the year I'm going to finish it. Like I'm going to do the prequel and then try to do the last one, and maybe I say the last one. We'll see where it gets, and maybe I'll have to do one more. But
that's cool.
But yeah, I'm a little intimidated because, like you said, I've kind of added so many layers that I've got to make sure I pull all of those out, and the characters a lot of them are not all good or not all bad. This is kind of one where they really are both. And so, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but I'm excited.
Well, I was going to say, that's where you shine, though.
Well, thank you.
You're so good.
Thank you. I'm
pulling out those layers.
I hope you're right, because I'm like, okay, I got to go back to my roots and get this and make sure I can do this story justice. And so, so I'm planning on
I'm excited.
doing that.
I'm excited to read it.
Well, hopefully it'll turn out okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Take the pressure off.
For better or worse, it will be written.
That's right. That's right.
Finally.
So in romance novels, you have the meet cute, which is the charming first encounter between the two characters where it'll eventually lead to a romantic relationship. And you guys put those in your books. So what is your favorite meet cute that you have put into one of your books?
Ooh, okay. You want to go first?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go?
Okay, well, I'll go first on this. Okay. My favorite one is so my main character, his name is Colin, and he's a stiff shirt, and he has this condo, and he's hired this cleaning crew to come in and clean, and he happens to come home early, and he goes in the kitchen and realizes that the maids are making themselves helping themselves to everything in the refrigerator, making themselves sandwiches. So he just goes berserk, and he orders them out of the house, and then he calls the lady, the owner. And so her name is Sophia, and so she comes out, and they have a big, huge fight about it because she thinks that he's being unduly harsh. And so they get into it, and they were making them, they were making them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and so they get into it, and they go back and forth, and then she, in her anger, in a fit of anger, she grabs the butter knife, and she accuses him of being a germaphobe. And she takes it and she licks it, and and then she goes into anaphylactic shock because she has a peanut allergy.
Oh no!
So that's probably my favorite because that's how they meet.
That.
And then of course he goes to the hospital, and then he feels bad.
She's having to eat a little bit of crow.
Yeah, she's having to eat crow, and he is too. Yeah, so I think that's been my favorite overall.
I love that.
Yeah, because it was just so outlandish, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun one to write, and I remember at the time I was writing it. I had the sweetest lady she was coming to clean my house, and she asked me. She said, "Where do you get your ideas for your stories?" And I'm looking at them thinking, "Well, do I tell her that this one is about a housekeeper who owns her own business?" But it's kind of fun to incorporate.
You're like, it's all fiction.
It's all fiction. I know you're not going to help yourself to anyone's food. Yeah, but that was It's kind of where real life kind of spurs it a little bit. Kind of fires the imagination.
Yeah.
Okay, how about yours? What's your?
There's one I know you guys. Our group of friends. You guys tease me.
Yes.
Because I really like it. A second chance romance. And in that cute, when they're back together, right? They run into each other 10 years later or whatever.
Yeah.
That she slaps him.
Yeah.
Usually he kisses her.
Yeah. See, I like that. I call it the kiss and slap.
The kiss and slap.
This is Taylor's famous the kiss and slap. Yeah, and we all do. We all kid you about the kiss and slap because we always say, "Okay, Taylor's got that kiss and slap down.
Where's the kiss and slap?
Where's the kiss and slap?" But it's very effective, though.
I like it.
It's really good.
I don't think I actually used it in the Stone family.
Oh, you didn't?
My signature kiss and slap.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe I'll have to put it in Hunter's book because it's still in editing.
Okay. You might have to do that.
Just to deliver.
Yeah, because everybody's going to be waiting for it. Like, where's the kiss and slap?
But one of my favorites is Zane Kent. It's the broken warrior.
I love Zane.
I love Zane.
Awesome character.
And at this point, he is working for a third party, and he's a retired Navy SEAL. And he's doing this operation, and it's been like 12 years since he's seen the girl that he wanted to marry, that actually married his best friend.
Oh.
And he's hired to do this operation. He goes in, he's at a bookstore, coffee shop, and he kind of has a newspaper, and he's waiting for these targets to come in. And all of a sudden he sees who comes in, and it's her.
Wow.
It's the girl that he was going to marry, that married his best friend. And so he's seeing like her talk to this guy who they think is a terrorist. And so then he's really sucked in, right? And so afterwards he wants to just get out of there, but he can't help himself. It's done. The meeting's done.
Does she realize he's there? Has she seen him?
Not at first.
Oh, okay.
And so he thinks, I'll just get out of here, but he can't help himself, right? And so he goes and bumps into her. She's done talking to the thug person. And he's like, "Oh, Sarah," and all of a sudden she just looks at him and she just gets so angry. He's like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And she just boom, right? Because
so he doesn't even kiss her.
He doesn't even get to kiss her.
That's awesome.
But that's one of my favorites just because he's like, in work mode.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's just jolted out of it.
Well, and then here she's talking to
he thinks it's a terrorist.
Target or the terrorist.
But he should the work mode should just leave. He's done his surveillance, but he can't.
But he can't. He can't walk away.
And I love that, like, feeling like they're so drawn together. He can't leave her alone, right?
I like that.
And she can't. I mean, the reason she slaps him is because the best friend that she married, he passed away 3 years ago.
Okay.
And he didn't even come to the funeral.
Oh, because he's upset because she married the best friend.
But they were all best friends. Uh-huh. And so, I mean, there's always two stories, right?
That's exactly. And I really liked Zane. He was really, he was really a good one.
Great.
Yeah, he was a great one.
So tortured.
Yeah.
I like that.
See, and you're calling me a sadist here. And you're torturing them emotionally.
So great.
I'm just killing them off.
You're just pushing them off the ledge.
That's
I just
awesome.
want to hurt them first.
You want them to really suffer.
We could take a poll.
Oh,
Do people think what's better? Really kill him?
You do.
Or kill him slowly?
You do your part and then pass it over to me, and we'll just push them right off the ledge.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. If you would like to read any of Jennifer or Taylor Hart's books, you can find them on Amazon.